just wanted to show you what's in the name again. We were talking about yesterday the names. 3 lines from the bottom on 726. Livnei Yosef le'Ephraim Elishama ben Amihud leMenashe Gabriel ben Pedatsur. So one of the unfortunate, there's a medrash that says like this: why is from the tribe of Elishama? Now what does Elishama mean? Elishama means Eli to me, Shama, he obeyed. Now we're talking about the tribes of Yosef. This goes back to the tribe of the man, the Nasi from the tribe of Ephraim is named Elishama. But the word, it has an implication on Yosef. Yosef, what did he do? Mrs. Potiphar is tempting him. But Eli, says God, to me, Shama, he obeyed. Eli, Shama, that's Elishama. Divides it to 2 words. Imi, he was with me. Amihud. Ami, the first 3 letters, it could be read as Imi. He was with me. And Hod refers to Hashem. And therefore, Lemenashe, what's the result? Gamli Gomel, like we say, Gomel Chasadim Tovim. Hashem bestows kindness. Gamli Kel. Hashem bestowed upon him, because of his loyalty, Ben Pidah Tzur. Padah means to redeem. Tzur is the rock, Hashem. Hashem redeemed him from captivity. Hashem redeemed him from Potiphar and redeemed him from captivity. So all of this alludes back to Yosef. That's what the Mefarshim say. Now, if you look at Perek Beis, Pasuk Yud Ches, skip on ahead. All the way on page 738. 736. Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe Lemor. Towards the bottom of the page. Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe Lemor. Hakreves Mate Levi. Draw near the tribe of Levi. Ve'amadato solifnei Aaron HaKohen v'sher suoso. Place the Levium before Aaron HaKohen, and they shall serve him. And then it goes on to describe the various tasks of the Levium. Now, why were the Levium chosen? Why were the Levium chosen? So originally, the service in the Beis Hamikdash, the Mishkan, was supposed to be done by the Bechors, by the firstborns. But it got taken away from them. They lost the privilege. Where did they lose the privilege? At the golden calf, at the sin of the golden calf. Which tribe was the only tribe that remained 100%, avoided that Avera? Was the tribe of Levi. The tribe of Levi. Now, what did the tribe of Levi achieve? To understand that, turn back to Parshas Kisisa. We spoke about this when we learned the Parsha, but the lesson for us is vital here. So it says that the people were involved in singing and dancing. They were partying. Isn't that the word we use nowadays? They were partying at the Egel. And then on page 498, top of 498. Keep your finger on the place here. Okay, go back to 498. So it says, Vayishma Yoshua es kol ha'om b're'o. Yoshua heard the people making noise. Vayomer el Moshe kol milchama b'machane. I hear the sound of war. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, Vayomer ain't kol hanos gevura. That's not the sound of people whooping it up when they win. You know, the winners go, yeah, the winners are yelling. Ve'ain kol hanos chalusha. That's not the sound of the defeated who are wailing. Kol hanos anochidra. It's the sound of unbridled yelling, partying. Woo! For no reason. And then Moshe goes on the next page, top of the page 500. Vayomer Moshe v'yamod Moshe b'shara machana. Vayomer mila Hashem elai. Who's devoted to Hashem should come to me. Vayeyasu elav kol b'nei Levi. All the b'nei Levi. What did the b'nei Levi do? What did the b'nei Levi do? There's chaos. There's just a total state of confusion. And what did the B'nai Levi do? they keep their wits about them, and they manage to get through all of this distraction to stay loyal to what they should stay loyal to, where there's a lot pulling you away. Why is it anytime you walk into a club, I'm assuming, where there's music, there's a loud beat. Boom, 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 boom. Loud music, boom, boom, with the really sophisticated people singing. Why is it? Because it kidnaps you. Can't think straight. Can't think straight with the noise going on. You can't think straight. Comes along Levi, and Levi says, you know what they did? They merited to be who they are and to go into the divine service, because with everything going around, they maintained their equilibrium. They didn't let themselves get rattled and distracted by the noise. And what the Torah is telling you is, we live in a society that makes a lot of noise. There's a society that makes a noise about success, defined by money. There's a society that makes noise about chasing various things. There's even peer pressure. Well, my neighbor upgraded his car, so therefore I have to upgrade my car. They went on a vacation, therefore we have to go on a vacation. It's like the guy says to his wife, you're way overdrawn in the bank. He checks her, we're way overdrawn in the bank. What's happening here? She goes, it's the neighbor's fault. Because why is the neighbor's fault? I said, they're living at a standard that I'm having trouble keeping up with. Why are you trying to keep up with the neighbors? The neighbors, you think that they're going to be impressed and people do this all over the place. People are kidnapped by the values are deteriorating. They have something in America now. I see this advertised in the Jewish magazines. There's something called a meat board. Yeah. You ever seen a meat board? You know what a meat board is? Where they serve you salami and various on delicious. The board isn't delicious. The meat is delicious, and it would be delicious if you put it on a plate and served it like we used to also. It's a meat board. It's a special thing. You got to put out a meat board. And I've been in a kosher shop. I've been in a kosher shop where they sell pre-made meat boards. Mm-hmm. Well, apparently these people are not aware of the prices out in the real world. Because you're paying. What happened? And it becomes the sort of thing. All of a sudden you have to have. Now they have fish boards. I've seen the advertiser in Ramat Eshkol. You get a fish board. Well, you get a fish. Or be bored, but you don't have to put the two of them together. Why are you doing it? Because somebody came up with a mishigas. Exactly. Somebody came up with a mishigas, and so we're not even thinking what we're doing. A lot of things we do, we're not even thinking about why we're doing it. We're being drawn after the crowd, and in the worst scenario, we're being drawn after society. Marijuana has been legalized. Well, who is it who made this decision that this is something that we should all be able to be involved in? Who made this decision that we're all being drawn after it? And the next thing, cocaine's going to be legalized. And who made that decision? I don't know, whatever they do. It's a society that's making noise. The Levium merit what they merit because they didn't get kidnapped by their society, and that's our avoda. Our avoda is to not be distracted and kidnapped by what's going on around us. We know what's right. If we know what's right, stick with what's right. The fact that 50 million people say a dumb thing doesn't mean it's not a dumb thing. That's a rule in life. The fact that people decide to do something together in mass doesn't mean that it's not mass madness. It could be mass madness. And our job is to go in the opposite direction. So yeah, it's a test. I'm not saying it's easy, by the way. I'm not saying it's easy, There is peer pressure and there's societal pressure. Sometimes we ourselves don't realize what we've deteriorated to. Even movies, there used to be the radio. There's a general, what's it called? G movie, PG, which is parental guidance. That means parents have to decide whether or not you could be a lowlife. And then there were X-rated movies, that sort of thing. And that's so there are certain, parental guidance. It's okay for adults to be lowlifes, but not for children. Think about what's being said over here. In Hollywood, they used to have something called the Hollywood Actors Guild. They used to have rules about what could be in basic levels of decency, which is all deteriorated in the society. Take a look at how old pictures of even baseball games. Look at pictures of baseball games from the 30s, 40s. And people went with a suit and tie. People dressed up to go to a baseball. You sat there like a gentleman. Now people look like savages. And people walk the streets looking like they got blown out of a laundromat. Nobody bothered taking. What happened to us? What happened to it? What happened to us is that the society, slowly but surely, our sensitivities have deteriorated. That's all. That's what's happened. And that's what the Torah says. That's why the Leviim are chosen. Now, take a look at Pasuk Yud Ches. Degel Machane Don. Degel Machane Ephraim, Litzivosam. On page 734. It's talking about, we remember yesterday we were talking about the Degels. Talk about the Degels, which is the flags, the various banners that each tribe had. On page 734, it goes like this. Where is it? Degel Machane Ephraim, the camp of Ephraim. That means that the camps were divided up into, remember we said yesterday, there are 4 groups of 3, and each one has a captain. And there's a camp called Degel Ruvain, there's Machane Yehuda, there's Machane, which is why it's called Machane Yehuda, and there's Machane Ephraim, and there's Machane Dan. Now, who's in the Machane Dan? Degel Machane Ephraim. Sorry, Degel Machane Pasuk Yud Ches. By the way, you know why it's called Mea Sha'arim? Do you know why it's called Mea Sha'arim? It's called Mea Sha'arim. What's that? No. It says by Yitzchak Avinu. When Yitzchak Avinu planted the what do you call it? He found Mea Sha'arim means 100 times the amount that he planted. It doesn't mean there are 100 gates there. There aren't 100 gates in Mea Sha'arim. Right? There are not 100 gates. There may be 5 gates. Each one says, "Please come in modest dress." Right? But none of them. There aren't 100 gates there. So all these names, a lot of names, come right out of the Torah. Degel Machane Ephraim Letzivosam Yoma V'Nasi Liftei Ephraim Elishama Ben Amihud, and then it tells his numbers. Ve'olav Mate Menashe, and next to him is the camp of Menashe. Now, first of all, the captain is Ephraim, so to speak. It's called the quarter of Ephraim. But next to him is Menashe. Now, first of all, that turn of phrase, Ve'olav, it doesn't say. It says, if you look at everyone else, watch this. Look all the way up at the top for a second. Degel Machane Ruvain. Keep your finger on the placer, but just look up at the top for a second. Degel Machane Ruvain, Teimana, they were in the south. V'Nasi Livdei Ruvain Elitzur ben Shadeur. And then, Utzva Ufkudav Shisha V'Arbaim Elef V'Chamesh Ve'os, they're 46,500. Then it says, Ve'Hachonim Olav, the ones who were camped next to him, Mate Shimon. Do you see that 4th line from the top? The ones that were camped next to him. By all of the tribes, it says, when it says 2 tribes together, it says, Ve'Hachonim Olav. It says those that were camped next to them. The only exception is right here in Pasuk Yud Ches, where after Degel Machane Ephraim, Pasuk Chof, it then says, Ve'olav Mate Menashe. It doesn't say Ve'Hachonim Olav. It says Ve'olav. Do you see what I'm pointing to? It doesn't say Ve'Achonim Olav like it did in the 3rd line from the top, in it like it does by all the other tribes. Here it just says Ve'olav, and next to him. And I told you there are no typos in the Torah. So why does it go with Olav over here? Not Ve'Achonim Olav. So, where did the Jewish people get water in the desert? The well. And how did the well get to the people? The heads of each tribe went to the well, and with their staffs, they drew a line to their tribe, which then opened up and became a river.
That's where they use it as a mikveh?
They probably used it as a mikveh. And they drew this river. It became river. There were rivers between each tribe. There's even a medrash that they had to take boats to get to each other. That's what a medrash says. There's only one place where it wasn't. Between Ephraim and Menashe, who were the 2 sons of Yosef. Because they're one Yosef divided into 2. They're one Yosef divided into 2. And therefore there was no river between them. That's why it doesn't say V'chonim Olav, it says just Ve'olav. That's what one of the Farshim says. In other words, every word here in the Torah needs an explanation. Okay, that's what's offered as explanation. But that begs a different question. Why doesn't Yosef himself have his own tribe? Yosef doesn't have a tribe for some reason. Okay, he's divided into two. Yaakov gave him a bracha. But at the end of the day, Yosef's left out of this. Why is Yosef left out of this? Yosef is left out of the whole thing. And the answer is, take a look back for a second, when Yosef says to the brothers come to Mitzrayim. Now keep your finger on the place and go back. See, it's all connected, gentlemen. It's all one Torah. The brothers come down to Yosef, and they're standing in front of him, and they steal the goblet. Okay, he what do you call it? He framed them, right? He framed them, and with the stolen goblet. Now, if you take a look, they come back after they frame them, and then where is it? 1 second. Where is it? 1 second. To what? Yes. Where is it? Oh yeah, so one more. Yes, on page 248. They're finally brought back. Remember, they come back, they take the grain, he has his men put the goblet in one of the sacks. They open it up, they find the goblet. Yosef sends his men to chase them, and they bring them back to Yosef. And now they come in front of Yosef, and look at the third line from the top on page 248. Vayomer lahem Yosef, ma ma'aseh hazeh asher asisa. Now, what did you do? 248, 3 lines from the top. What did you do? Halo yadatem ki nachesh yenachesh ish asher kamoni. You know that a man like me practices divination. That's how the Art Scroll translates it. But it could also be translated as, you know that a man like me would figure out how to divine this. That sentence, now remember, every single thing Yosef is doing is for the purpose of creating a situation, because he needs this for the good of the Jewish people. It's all for the good over here. But he uses an expression with smacks of haughtiness. A man like me divines. Oh, Yosef. At your level, you don't talk that way. Figure out another way to say it. Figure out another way to do it. At your level, that smacks of haughtiness. Therefore, when the Jewish people are put into positions of prominence, the tribes are divided up. He's the leader of the tribe. He's the leader of the group. He's the leader of his team. Yosef is left out. That's your punishment. Because one time he said something a little bit inappropriate, which is, by the way, we find that in other places. Where else do we find it in the Torah? Where speech has an effect in future generations. The daughters of Lot. The first daughter, remember the 2 girls in the cave, they had the best intentions, and she's rewarded. She's actually rewarded. The messianic line comes from the first son. How do you like that? Moav. But she's punished for using such an indiscreet term. She said, Moav, from my father. His name is fathered. That's the kid's name. Moav, fathered. From my father. A public declaration of incense. Whereas the younger sister, her name was Ammon. A little more discreet, my nation. And therefore, later on in history, the Moavites, the Jewish people, are allowed to intimidate them. They're not allowed to intimidate the Ammonites. It's a punishment to the mother. You used an indiscreet word, your children can be intimidated by the Jewish people. You were more discreet, your children can't be intimidated. There's an effect of everything that happens even at the slightest, most subtle level. Therefore, Yosef, you used the terminology a little bit of haughtiness crept in there. Yosef, it's taken away from you. You're not going to get a position of prominence. That's what the Forship say. Now, we have to understand something here, because when it comes to haughtiness, or it comes to humility in general, in general when it comes to humility. We have to understand what humility is. Humility is not denial. A person is responsible to know exactly who he is, exactly what his abilities are, exactly what his talents are. If a person's a great painter, you have to know that you're a great painter. And it's not hard. Look around what everybody else is producing, and you'll see that you're a great painter. But so what? At the end of the humility is the recognition that even if I have an ability, I could paint a gorgeous painting. But that's only because God gave me the ability. So what are you bragging about? But you have an obligation to know who you are. If Reb Chatzkel Abramsky was the Jewish, the chief rabbi of the Jews in London. He was a Dayan. He was the chief rabbi of London. And there was a Jew who was accused of something. A Jew was accused of something, and Reb Chatzkel Abramsky, he had to go to court. He was a European Rav, but he was living in London, and he was then he came to Israel as one of the Gedolei Ador, and he was in a court in London. He had to serve as a character witness. So this Jew is accused of something, and Rav Abramsky comes in, and he said something about shechita. It had to do, I think, with ritual slaughter. So he said to Rav Chatzkel Abramsky, the judge said to him, "Sir, I would like to get the English judge, said, I would like the opinion of the supreme halachic authority." So he said, "Your Honor, I am the supreme halachic authority." So the judge says, "My dear Rabbi, a little humility." He says, "I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm under oath." Are you the supreme halachic authority or not? I am the supreme halachic authority. So and we're looking for your opinion. What are you going to deny it? If you're a general in the army, you're a general. What are you going to say? No, I'm not really a general. Oh, you are a general, but you have to recognize that the ability to get there. Where did that come from? That ability came from the Ribono Shel Olam. That's what, and therefore, what's there to be gaivadik about? He also gave us fingers. I have fingers. Yeah. So do I. I mean, okay. It's not something you did. It's not something you did. It's not just something, Hashem gave you fingers. Okay, so what are you bragging about? I have fingers and you're just a dog. So you see a dog, you're a dog, I'm a human. It could have been the opposite. And I know some cases where it should have been the opposite. So what are you bragging about? And so he gave you an ability, so what? And even if he gave you the drive to get there, the guy becomes, let's say a guy has practiced something, so now he's a better golfer than anybody else. Yeah, but I practiced. Yeah. Who gave you the drive to practice? Who gave you the interest? And who gave you the interest in the realization that golf is just so important? Like the guy calls the dentist and he wants an appointment. He says, "No appointments this afternoon." He says, "Why? I have 18 cavities to fill." And he picks up his golf clubs and walks out of the office. So it's what gave you the drive? It's like, oh, they drive. That's humility. Question.
What if can someone feel proud based on how much he decided to grow spiritually?
Yes.
That he can feel proud.
A person should feel, gentlemen, when we make a mistake, that we think that we've read a Musar book that talks about humility, so we think that we're never allowed to feel good about ourselves. And that's a classic mistake. We're supposed to feel good about ourselves. If I've achieved something, I should feel good about myself. Just keep it in the proper perspective. Don't let it swell. And then say, thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for giving me the brains to at least try to do this. Thank you to give me the brains that I put on tefillin every morning. Thank you, Rabbi, for giving me the brains. A lot of people don't have that intelligence. They don't put on tefillin. They're neglecting a very, very important mitzvah. I have the brains to put on tzitzis every morning. I'm very happy I put on tzitzis every morning. And I'm also grateful the Ribono Shel Olam gave me the life situation and the parents and the guidance to get to this point. So I didn't get there on my own, but the fact is I'm doing it. I've got money in my wallet. Thank you, Rabbi, for giving me the money. Thank you, Rabbi. My wife got that. I got to my wallet before my wife did this morning. Rabbi, thank you for giving me the brains to do that. And by the way, gentlemen, make sure you get there first. It's amazing how quickly it goes. Okay, take a look at now something remarkable. Take a look at puzzles. I wanted to show you this yesterday. Is this where it is? 1 second. Where am I here?
The solution is...
Yes. What's that? What's the solution? Please. What's the solution? Not on Shabbos. Okay. Now watch this. You're going to like this, Tamid. Umate Binyamin. Where? Pasuk Chav Beis, 734. Where's what do you call it? Is Angel's not here? Okay. Dovid, maybe you can make it a little colder in the room. You know how to work the air conditioning? Does anybody know how to just turn it down a few degrees? Yeah. We should be freezing. The Umate Binyamin. Somebody ever hear somebody say, no, I told you, no couple is thermally compatible. You never heard this? One is always freezing and the other is boiling hot. Yeah. They're always right, an opposite extreme. On average, you're perfect. Yeah, there you go. Somebody also said married couples are ideal for eating pizza because one of them always loves olives and the other one doesn't like olives. So one picks the olives off and the other one eats the pizza. It works like a charm. Thank you. Now watch this. This is remarkable, gentlemen. You're going to like this. Was about 11 lines from the bottom. 12 lines from the bottom. Umate Binyamin. Now we're talking about the tribe of Binyamin. I want everybody to see this inside. Umate Binyamin. V'nosi livnei Binyamin Avidan ben Gidoni. The prince of the tribe of Binyamin, the leader of the tribe is Avidan ben Gidoni. Now, how many members were there? Utzva'o ufkudehem, the count of the Binyamin, Chamisha ushloshim elef, 35,400. 35,400. What is significant about the number 35,400? Especially being in the tribe of Binyamin. So we know that the Beis HaMikdash was built in whose portion? The portion of Binyamin. The Beis HaMikdash is built in the portion of Binyamin. Binyamin, the Beis HaMikdash, is the most blessed spot on earth. Not today. Today there's a dome there. But it is the most blessed spot on earth. The Beis HaMikdash is the source of all blessing. The 12 showbreads, which are there every day in the Beis HaMikdash, why are there 12 breads on the shulchan in the Beis HaMikdash all week, every week? Why are the 12 breads? Because the 12 breads represent prosperity. The bracha comes down from Shemayim. It rests on those 12 breads, and from there spreads to the 12 tribes. And that's the receiver of the blessing is the 12 tribes. And the 12 tribes for the breads spread about. So the Beis HaMikdash is the source of all blessing. The Beis HaMikdash is the makor habracha. That's why one of the things the Kohanim do in the morning is they go up, the first service in the Beis HaMikdash, they take a pan full of ashes from on the Mizbeach, the korbanos, they're burnt all night. They take a pan full of ashes. One of the Kohen takes a pan full of ashes and he goes and he places it on the floor of the altar, representing that the bracha that comes as a result of our devotion, the korbanos which became ashes, that bracha now rests on the floor, which represents the entire earth. That the blessing comes from the Beis HaMikdash and it spreads out. Okay. How many brachas do you make every day, gentlemen? Or how many we're supposed to make? 100 brachas a day. I know two people who at any time of the day you could ask them what number you're up to and they'll tell you how many brachas they're holding by. All right, what number are you up to? 66. Where are you? 91. They know they're actually keeping track of brachas in the course of the day. I know batting averages, but there are other people who know brachas. So this guy, listen, and we're supposed to make, now it's really not that difficult if you daven 3 times a day. So 19 times 3 is 57. You've played darts. 19 triple 19 is 57. And you got the 14 brachas in the morning, so already up to 71. And then in the rest of the davening, you make a few more brachas in davening, and you eat, you bench. And on a weekday, it's not that hard to get there. 100 brachas a day. Baruch atah Hashem. What does the words Baruch atah Hashem mean? You are the source of all blessing. It's a declaration. We're not blessing God. We're making a declaration. You are the source of all blessing. How many brachas do you make in the course of a day? is 100. Okay? How many do you make in the course of a year?
36,000.
Say it. 35,400. That's 354 days in a Jewish year. Where is the source of blessing is Binyamin. How many people are in the tribe of Binyamin? Well, look at that. 35,400. That represents that Binyamin is that Beis HaMikdash represented by Binyamin. That's the source, and that's exactly what we're doing when we're making 35,400 brachas a year. Stop it. Let's make a calculation, gentlemen. If that's how you make in a year, how many do you make in 10 years? About 350,000. How many you make in 30 years? You're up over 1 million. In 30 years of making brachas, you become a millionaire. What's the point of making the bracha? You are the source of all blessing. Well, if you say that 100 times a day, you, Hashem, are the source of all blessing, what do you think the relationship with Hashem is going to be? He doesn't need us to make the declaration. It's for ourselves. Tefillah means to be penetrated. Palel means to penetrate. All the praises that we say in Shemona Esrei, Hashem, you're great, Hashem, you're good, Hashem, you're this, Hashem, you're that. Hashem doesn't need it. He created us. He created us. It's that we say it so that it penetrates us and realize what Hashem is at every level, whatever level we can realize it. So you've done it, you did 1 million times. Now imagine saying that to your mother. Mom, you are the source of my joy. Thank you for supper. Mom, you are the source of my joy. Thank you for doing the laundry. Say it to your wife 100 times a day. You are the source of my joy. Thank you for keeping me company. You're the source of my joy. Thank you for dinner. I mean, it's a relationship. You are the source of my joy. Thank you for not using the credit card. Imagine how many, the relationship between you and your wife, that's science fiction, obviously. Nobody's going to do that. But if you would do it, if we would do it, then it gives us a different appreciation. That's Binyamin is the source of all the brachas. Okay. Take a look at Per Gimel. Ve'ela told us 736. Ve'ela told us Aaron and Moshe. Biyom diber Hashem as Moshe b'Har Sinai. These are the children of Aaron and Moshe on the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe at Har Sinai. Ve'ela shmos b'nei Aaron ha'bechor Nodav va'aviu Elazar v'isamar. And then the Torah goes and repeats yet again. These are names of his sons who are anointed. The Torah repeats the deaths of Nadav and Avihu and why they died several times. Every time it mentions them, it repeats it. So before I should point out, you know why it's repeating it? To let us know that was their only Avera. That we should keep Nadav and Avihu in the bright. They died, but that was their only Avera. They were on such a high level. Their death. Why did they die? They died there was one misstep. So the Torah repeats it over and over. Then, take a look at Pasuk, where is it? Pasuk Yud Gimel. Where is it? Pasuk Tezvav, page 738. Now watch this. V'daber Hashem al Moshe Bamidbar Sinai Lamor. Pakodes b'nei Levi lebeis avosam. Take account of the base Levi. 738, 5 lines from the bottom. I want you to count the tribe of Levi. Kol zochar mi ben chodesh v'malatif kedem. Every male from a month on, a year, 30 days and on. Now listen carefully, gentlemen. First of all, the Levium were not counted with the rest of the Jewish people. Why not? Why weren't the Levium counted with the rest of the Jewish people? The Levium counted by themselves.
Because they couldn't serve or outside of what they were assigned to do?
What's that?
They had a specific purpose.
They had a specific purpose. You're separate, number one. Number two, the Levium are counted from 30 days on, not from 20 years and up. So one of the reasons is because the Jewish people multiplied in Egypt beyond natural law. They're in 6 at a time. The Levium did not. There are far fewer Levium, even though they're counted from 30 days. The Jewish people between 20 and 60, we're going to see how many firstborns they have. It's completely out of proportion. Why didn't the Levium increase in the same way as the Jewish people? Why did they not increase supernaturally? They weren't slaves. The Egyptians were saying, listen, if we rule you, we rule your wives as well. So Hashem said, no, I'm going to prove to you that you're not tampering with the Jewish women. How does he prove that? He proves that by having them give birth miraculously. Hashem's not going to do miracles for an adulterous Egyptian. The miraculous growth of the Jewish people that they're having 6 at a time is to show the Egyptian scoffers, no, you did not contaminate the Jewish women. You were not living with the Jewish women. The proof is they're having children. God doesn't do miracles for sinners. The Levium didn't have that issue because they weren't slaves. So they don't need the supernatural growth. And not only that, if they had the supernatural numbers, the Egyptians would say, well, it's just a natural thing that Jews have. So to the contrary, to prove that what's happening to the rest of the people is a miracle, it doesn't happen to the Levium. Because otherwise they would say, well, it just happens to the Jews, it happens to all the Jews. It happens to all of them, whether the ones that we dominate or ones we don't dominate. So it has nothing to do with God's miraculous intervention over here. So the Levium are specifically left out, number one. Number two, the tribes of Levi and the tribes of the Kohanim come to the tribe of Levi. Rabbi Chanan Wasserman says that there is far more, and I'm using his words, in every area of the world there's more waste than there is productivity. The things that are secondary, there's more of than the things that are more valuable. There's a lot more water in the world than there is gold. There's a lot more air in the world. By the way, the more something is needed, the more of it there is. Isn't that interesting? Water is readily available. Air is certainly readily available. Grain, there's a lot more grain in the world than there is plutonium, because it's something that's needed. But it's also the value changes. The more scarce something is, the more valuable it is. There are more, if you take a look at a banana, is there more peel or more banana? What's that? I think there's more peel. On a banana? Is there? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I haven't eaten enough bananas. Yeah, we should measure. We can work this out right now. You know, then one of us is going to look bad. You know, let's weigh them. Let's weigh it out. There is more secondary than there is primary. There are more ordinary Jews than there are Kohanim and Levium. The more scarce it is, the more valuable it is. How many of you are Kohanim, by the way? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging like that. I'm just saying. So the Levium, there's less of them. That emphasizes the value of the Levium. That emphasizes that the Levium, there's something special and unique about the Levium. That's why there are less of them. Now, take a look at Rashi. He says, count the Levium from 30 days and on. Take a look at Rashi. Right column, bottom line. Mi ben chodesh v'malav. Says Rashi, Mi sheyatza michlal nefalim, from the point that the babies are no longer potentially, a nefel means a miscarried child. A baby until 30 days has a status of he's not fully viable yet. He's a human being, obviously, but they're in a very vulnerable situation up until 30 days. Hu nikra kodesh. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Lamud hu oso hashevet lios nimna mina beten. That tribe is counted from the belly. Now, why is it that they're counted from 30 days as members of the Jewish people, and the others are only counted at 20? So Moshe Feinstein says something very interesting. The rest of the Jews, we'll call them the ordinary Jews, they were working people, they were agriculture, certainly in the land of Israel, they're involved in agriculture, involved in making a parnasa, it's far from a certainty that their children are going to necessarily follow the path of Torah. So we can only count them. At 20 years old, if he got him by the time he's at 20, he's in. But before that, it's uncertain. It's uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. Where it comes to the Levium, you could put a bet on it. From 30 days and on, he's going to be bet. Why? Because he's involved in an environment which is emphasizing and focusing on Torah and Torah values. Because his father's a Levi, they're the teachers. Having said that, in our day and age, working, learning, at the end of the day, it's the environment you create in a home. If you walk into the home and you see on the walls pictures of the Chafetz Chaim and the Chazon Ish, that's a home. It creates a home environment. If you see Svarim on the wall, father could be working. Got to make a parnasa. Man's got to make a parnasa. What kind of environment and values are you instilling in your home? What's the importance? What do your children sense on you? Where the children sense it on the parents, what the values are, that's going to. I heard about this kid was off the derech. So he went to speak to one of these guys that works with kids who are struggling. What do they call it? Kids at risk. Nowadays they talk about kids at risk, from kids at risk. Somebody once came to Yeshiva. They once brought in a group of adults into the Yeshiva. They had the special program for this group of guys. And one of them said to the Rosh Yeshiva, "Kids at risk? Heck, we're adults at risk." And so this kid was a kid at risk. He was struggling. And he met up with this guy who works with these kids. And he said to him, "What happened? What threw you off?" He said, "I'll tell you, I was raised by a father who was very, he's always talking about learning Torah and learning Musar and davening. He's Torah, Musar, davening. Then one day, the next door neighbor drove up with a Volvo, a brand new Volvo. And my father started talking about that Volvo. His eyes were glowing like the O's in the word Volvo. He says, I never heard that enthusiasm for my father when he talked about Torah and davening. He said, then I saw what was really important to him. Okay, the truth of the matter is kids looking for an excuse. The kids looking for an excuse. But it's not our job to give them the excuse. Don't provide them with the excuses. And the kids sense on us what's really important. A kid flips on a light switch on Shabbos accidentally and say to the kid, hey, listen, it's Shabbos, try to be more careful. Kid knocks a vase off the table. What are you doing? And so what did you just communicate to the kid? That the broken vase is more important than flicking a light switch on Shabbos. That's what you just communicated. I'm not saying you should yell at him for the light switch. Don't yell. Don't yell, but talk to the kid about it. Hey, listen, it's Shabbos. Maybe try to be more careful. At least to emphasize that it's at least important as a vase. All right, it's tricky. It's not easy. But if you get upset about this and then, okay, you have people flick light switch. So what are you communicating to the kid? That's the idea. All right, we'll hold over here. We'll continue to Bar Mitzvah show. The